Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be building another autumn build. This is going to be the second last autumn build of this year. When autumn rolled around this year, I didn't want to be the kind of builder that only made fall or autumn themed builds. As much as I think they're really pretty, I just didn't want to do that. That's not something I've ever really done with my builds. I always like to have variety. But that said, I've definitely done more fall builds this year than last year. Last year it was only one, and yeah, I feel like since the channel's grown, I want to be able to do more seasonal builds. I've already started planning some winter builds, and even actually started one of them. So I'm very ahead in my builds. But yeah, this one I'm really happy with how it turned out. Originally, I had this kind of interesting idea for a build in Chestnut Ridge, and I wanted to do it like an autumn theme build, but a ranch, and I was really excited about this idea. And then as soon as I went into the world and I started building, I was like, actually, no, I kind of hate this now. I don't want to do that. Like, I do want to make another ranch or a couple ranch builds because I've only done one since the horse pack came out, which is kind of silly of me to only have done one. But yeah, I've got the itch again to make some ranches, so that's definitely something that will be coming, but I decided to instead go for a more basic build. This is just a Victorian, almost like cottage in Windenburg. Yeah, I went on Pinterest, I found like this really cute Victorian house that I kind of based this one off of, loosely based off of. I never really copy builds anymore from pictures because often they don't translate very well into The Sims 4 because we don't have all of the like building tools to allow us to translate it like perfectly into the game. So a lot of times I will just take bits and pieces, maybe from a bunch of different builds, to make my builds. Or sometimes they just come off the top of my head completely and there's nothing that really inspires them. Yeah, it depends. But this build I'm really happy with. The colors are so pretty. Originally I had it that reddish brick that is on the final build, and then the siding was white. And I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it, so I played around, and I believe actually all of the wallpapers are from, oh, well, I think the green one is from Hey Harry's Coastal Collection, and the brick is from the Organic set, which is Hey Harry as well as Felixander. Um, yeah, I just think these colors really scream like autumn to me, and I really like how this build turned out. The interior as well. I had a lot of fun with this one. I feel like a couple of my speed builds lately, and maybe even my stop motion builds, I've been like having a little bit of like design block almost. Like, I can do the exterior is fine and it's fun and enjoyable, but then when I get to the interior I just struggle a little bit, or I don't completely love the way that it turns out. But this build, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And yes, speaking of this build, it's also a little bit later than I planned. I planned to have this build out on Monday, I think, because last weekend was Thanksgiving in Canada. So yeah, I had like dinner with the family and everything, and yeah, I've not gotten it done until today. Yeah, life just happens, sometimes, and you can't get a voiceover done when you want it done. I'm actually recording this one in the morning, so if my voice sounds a little bit like stuffy or anything, that's because I've woken up a little bit recently. Yeah, this is the best time to do it, like before I start work, when I have the apartment to myself and don't have to worry about, anybody else making any like sounds in the background or anything. It's just easier this way. Yeah, this house, it's very small. It does have 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms though, which I guess, I don't know if you classify that as a small house or just a regular sized house, but it is on a small lot. And I did that on purpose because I feel like recently I've been doing a lot of crazy things with terrain. And I wanted to keep this one simple and just have it be on a very flat lot. So I needed it to be small so that I didn't have to fill it with a bunch of landscaping or activities. There are activities. I made sure, especially because there is a child in this household, to add a swing, and I added a child's bike as well so that they have that. And then we have a little area in the backyard where there's a grill, a laundry, like clothesline, and some bees and a flower arranging table. So there is some activities for the adults of this household as well. And actually, there's also a greenhouse, and I've been having this obsession with greenhouses lately, and I don't know where it's come from because I feel like I've always, not always, but most of the time I do add greenhouses to my builds. Like, usually, if I have an extra room that I don't know what to do with it on the first floor, or there's room in the backyard, it's a big lot, to add like a separate greenhouse or shed, I will often do that. But lately, I feel like I've just been adding them to my builds. Like, even my speed build that's coming after this has a greenhouse, but it makes sense for that build. And you'll see why when that build comes out, why there had to be a greenhouse. But yeah, it's just, I don't know what it is lately with the greenhouses. So we're now onto the interior of the build. This is one of my favorite rooms in the build, just the kind of entry and living area. I also really love the greenhouse and the child's room upstairs. I think those are the ones that turned out the best in my opinion. So we went with this very reddish brown color on the interior as well. I just think it feels very like fall to me, that color. There is some white on the interior of the build as well. I just wanted like a little pop of color, well, not color, but just a pop of something. I feel like the white contrasts with the reddish brown really nicely. There's definitely not a lot of color in this build. It's very much the colors you're seeing now carried throughout, which I feel like I've been getting good at doing recently. In the past, like, I feel like I really had a lot of variation in my rooms, and it's not that way anymore. So yeah, we're into the kitchen now. The kitchen has an eat-in area because there is an island, but the island part where you would normally have your Sims sit and eat does not function, I don't believe. They can definitely sit in the chairs, but I don't think they can eat in them because they need a surface to put the plate on. But there is a little table to the corner that has 2 chairs, so that basically worked out fine. The reason that the island doesn't have the functioning island pieces to sit at is because this kitchen is very tight, and I did want to fit an island just because it would have looked a bit silly without one, I think. But yeah, it was too tight to fit like 2 other counters on the back of those center ones. So yeah, we just compromised. We put a little eat-in kitchen table here, and there's also a dining room, which you will see in a second probably. I can't remember if I show the bathroom first or not. Okay, yeah, the bathroom. So there are 3 bathrooms in this build because there was just space for them, and I said, why not? For gameplay, it is easier to have more bathrooms the more Sims you have, because then they're not fighting over like the shower in the morning and stuff. Yeah, I just find that easier. So here's the dining room. The other room downstairs is the garage, which is actually the teenager's bedroom because it's a very, very small garage, and I didn't want to fill it with activities for once. I kind of wanted to use it as a bedroom this time. So I imagine this teenager's a little bit more rebellious. Their room doesn't totally fit the style of the rest of the house. It does a little bit, but I imagine they are into video games, as probably a lot of teenagers are. They have a TV with, as you can see, the little video game console, and then they also have a computer so that they can do gaming and maybe streaming on there as well. I don't know why all my teenagers lately have been streamers. I really need to branch out a little bit next time. I think it's just, I don't know, in my mind it's just like the thing that my mind goes to every time is I want to have teenagers that like gaming. And it's probably because I was that way when I was a teenager, and I still am that way. Yeah, so we're going to move on to the greenhouse now, which I am obsessed with this greenhouse. It's so cozy looking. We fit some couches in here that are from Hey Harry and Felixander's Jardin set, which I don't use these couches often. I've started using them a little bit more recently because I actually think they're kind of comfy looking, and I've always disregarded them for some reason. So there's another flower arranging table in here that does function despite all the clutter on it. So you have two flower arranging tables, which I guess I didn't realize when I was making this build that I included two of them, but there aren't really any other gardening like activities that you can do for greenhouses. There's that, and there's like the planters. That's pretty much it. So that's why I ended up adding that second one, I guess, just to give another activity. You can use it in the winter, have your Sims be a little bit warmer than they would be outside. But yeah, this greenhouse is just super cozy and cluttered, and we're moving on to my other favorite room now, which is the kids' room. So I've been doing this thing lately in my builds where when we have a kids' room, I add a double bed instead of a single one, and I just think it makes the room look more cozy. Like, the single beds are very small, and you have to have like a really tiny bedroom if you want it to look cozy. Like, I don't know, I just find it looks nice. You don't have to upgrade it when they're a teenager. I mean, that's the thing I normally would do, is upgrade the bed when they age from a child to a teenager. You can just leave it, now if you want. It's big enough for a teenager, and it's fine for a kid as well. Yeah, I'm so happy with this build. Like, I just had this idea in my head of how I wanted the interior of this to look. Like, not super modern, pretty cozy, a little bit like antique in places, I guess, with the furniture. And I think I really like captured that really well. You guys can let me know if you think I captured it really well. I always try my best. Yeah, something I've been thinking about doing for a while now actually is subscribing to some interior design magazines so that I can just like pull inspiration from those to get a little more variety in my interiors, because I do feel like my interiors get a bit samey sometimes in terms of just the way that I use pieces. So I'd like to definitely do that in the future and see if I can add something a little bit different. So we're coming towards the end of this build. It's just this bathroom and the parents' room left, which I never know what to say about those rooms. They're always very basic. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to download this build, it will be on the gallery at lindsaybuilds, and also in the description below at my Patreon, which also includes all the CC links and the tray files if you're interested in downloading through tray files. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment on this video and turn on notifications, especially because I'll be coming out with another autumn build, this time a stop motion, in a couple weeks time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!